Over in the Mithila region of Nepal and India, there's this ancient art form. And it's so much more than just something beautiful to look at. It's actually a prayer painted right onto the walls. It's called Kohbar painting, and its story? It's all about deep meaning, a long, long history, and honestly, incredible resilience.
So when you see one of these paintings, you're not just looking at decoration. Not at all. Every single line, every figure, it's all part of a sacred tradition. Think of it like a visual prayer, painted to bless a new couple right at the very beginning of their life together.
So, where does this art actually live? Well, traditionally, it's found in a very specific, very sacred space. So, let's step inside, shall we? We're going to explore one of the most unique and artistically rich parts of a Mithila wedding, the painted wedding chamber.
Okay, so this room is called the Kohbar Ghar. That literally means bridal chamber. And it is the sacred heart of the entire wedding. It's this private space where the newlyweds spend their first 4 nights, and they're just surrounded by these incredibly intricate paintings. And like we said, these are not just for show. They have a vital, ritualistic purpose.
But what are these paintings actually saying? I mean, really saying? Because every single image is a symbol. It's a powerful visual prayer for the couple's future.
The artists, who are traditionally the women of the family, they choose every single motif so carefully. So when you see a peacock or an elephant, it's not just a beautiful animal. No, it's a visual wish for a life that's just filled with love, good fortune, and prosperity.
And that symbolism just keeps on going. For instance, the fish and the lotus flower, they are so important. The fish, that's all about fertility and abundance. The lotus stands for purity and the divine feminine. So you put them together, and what do you have? You have this powerful blessing for a fruitful and pure marriage.
And this tradition has incredibly deep roots. We're talking maybe 3,000 years back. What's really cool is that it's a matriarchal art form. This sacred knowledge is passed directly from mother to daughter. There's even a legend that says the very first Kohbar paintings were made for the wedding of Sita to Lord Ram in the epic Ramayana. Wow. It's this deep, living history that makes it a perfect example of what UNESCO calls an intangible cultural heritage.
So, at the end of the day, the art completely transforms a simple room into a sacred space. The walls themselves literally become a blessing, just wrapping the new couple in prayers for a long, prosperous, and fertile life together.
But there's a problem, a big one. This ancient tradition, which is so deeply connected to the home, it's painted right onto mud walls. Well, that makes it incredibly fragile.
And that brings up a really critical question. Because if the art can't be separated from the architecture, what happens to this tradition when the very canvas it's painted on is under threat? See, the Mithila region is geographically really vulnerable to natural disasters. You've got 15 rivers flowing through the area, which means it gets hit by frequent, devastating floods. On top of that, it's in an earthquake zone, so that's a constant threat. So when these disasters strike, they don't just displace people, they destroy the very homes that serve as the canvas for this ancient tradition. And the scale of this problem, it's just staggering. Just to give you an idea, after the devastating 2015 Nepal earthquake, 700 paintings, including priceless Kohbar art, were left damaged at the Nepal Fine Arts Academy alone. That was a massive, massive blow to the country's artistic heritage.
But this isn't a story about loss. Not at all. It's a story about adaptation. Because when faced with literal destruction, this tradition found a remarkable way to not just survive, but to actually evolve. And the adaptation was just brilliant in its simplicity. With their traditional canvases, the mud walls getting destroyed, the artists started moving their work onto portable surfaces, like paper and canvas. So the art went from being this fixed, vulnerable, ritual object to a durable and even commercial art form.
So this really wasn't a loss of tradition, it was a necessary evolution. By changing the medium, the artists made sure that all the symbolic meanings, all the stories, all the cultural expressions embedded in Kohbar art could survive. It basically broke the art free from its physical limitations, which made it way more accessible and guaranteed it would be around for a long time. And this brilliant adaptation, it did so much more than just save an art form. It actually created a vibrant, resilient future for Kohbar painting.
This is just a perfect example of what we call cultural resilience. That's the ability of a community to hold on to its cultural identity and practices when facing adversity, usually by innovating and adapting. So Kohbar art didn't just survive, it was completely transformed.
So today, Kohbar painting has become this powerful tool for recovery in communities that have been hit by disaster. It strengthens their cultural identity because that sacred knowledge is still being passed from mother to daughter, just on paper now instead of walls. And all of this incredible resilience, it got officially recognized in 2020 when the art form received the Geographical Indication Tag, or GI tag, which gives it official protection.
So, the story of Kohbar painting really shows us a community using its art to heal, to adapt, and to endure. And it leaves us with a pretty powerful question, don't you think? When a culture is in crisis, could its art be the ultimate key to recovery?